As a child, this Sri Lankan Tamil refugee fled the civil war with her family. The unrest between the Sri Lankan military and Tamil separatist rebels has spanned decades. Many governments, including the U.S., call the rebels terrorists.
Located off the southeastern tip of India, the island nation of Sri Lanka, once called Ceylon, is a former British, Portuguese, and Dutch colony that is today home to two warring communities. The Sinhala Buddhist majority controls the functions of government, including the capital city of Colombo to the south. The Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, a nationalist group of the Tamil minority, largely Hindu, fought for 30-odd years to keep control of what was a de facto state based in the northern city of Jaffna. The Sinhalese people make up about 74% of the Sri Lankan population. They speak the Sinhala language. Derived from an ancient northern Indian language, the Sinhala language reflects the Sinhalese origins from northern Aryan India. Most Sinhalese are Buddhist. The Tamil minority makes up about 11% of the Sri Lankan population, and they form an overwhelming majority in the north and a majority in parts of the east. Tamils speak a southern Indian Dravidian language and use a script that also pertains to that area. Most Tamils are Hindu, but there are significant Christian Tamil minorities.
Sri Lanka Mata, Apa Sri Lanka.
This is the official flag of Sri Lanka. The orange stripe represents the Tamil community. The green stripe represents Sri Lanka's Moor community, also a minority. The other symbols on the flag are Sinhala or Buddhist symbols. The maroon background represents the Sinhalese Buddhist majority. The four bow leaves represent core Buddhist principles: loving kindness, compassion, equanimity, and happiness. The flag itself is an adaptation of a pre-colonial lion banner, which King Dutu Gemunu, the ruler of southern Sri Lanka's Sinhala Buddhist community, carried into battle against the invading Tamil king, Alara. Sinhala literally translates to lion people. The dominant symbolism on the flag is therefore explicitly Sinhalese, and it glorifies a national narrative that celebrates a Sinhalese victory at the expense of a Tamil defeat. But that narrative has largely been constructed by 20th century nationalists on both sides. Alara was a mainland Tamil king and a Hindu. Nevertheless, the Mahavamsa, an important Sinhalese Buddhist text, records that Alara was a wise and just king of Sri Lanka. And before the colonial period, sectarian divisions did not split along Tamil and Sinhalese lines. Before British rule, divisions tended to be along religious lines and not ethnic lines. The British colonization of Sri Lanka, then called Ceylon, kept the Sinhalese majority out of power until independence in 1948. British rule favored the Tamil minority, in the same way that Britain favored minorities in many of its other colonies. After independence, however, the Sinhalese majority voted its representatives into power, and the Tamil representatives proved unable to prevent a number of pro-Sinhala policies that shut the Tamil community out of government opportunities and other policies. Tamil nationalism had originally developed in reaction to Protestant missionaries, and Tamil Hindus often allied with Sinhalese Buddhists to resist Protestant evangelizing. Sri Lanka's government recognizes both the Tamil and the Sinhalese languages as official languages of Sri Lanka. But after independence, the Sinhalese-controlled government put laws in place that gave Sinhalese preference in education and employment, as well as disenfranchising many Indian Tamils. This led to a rise in Tamil nationalist identity. As Sinhala political dominance continued, a Tamil resistance developed against the Colombo government. Initially, the resistance remained political, but during the 1970s, the resistance turned militant, culminating in the formation of the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, a nationalist organization that brought Sri Lanka to an ethnic civil war and controlled a de facto state in many parts of the northern areas, which it calls Tamil Eelam. The Tamil Tigers have created this aspirational national flag for a proposed Tamil state in Sri Lanka's north and east. The crossed bayonets are an adaptation of the crossed swords that symbolized the feudal land divisions of Sri Lanka during the Tamil ruling dynasty's golden era. The Tamil dynasty rose around the same time that the Sinhalese dynasty fell. The tiger is adapted from the jumping tiger emblem of the Chola Empire, the Empire of Alara, the same mainlander king defeated by the Sinhalese king. In this sense, the flag is a response to the Colombo government's use of the lion flag, and a challenge to the symbolic glorification of the battle between the two kings. It is also a reflection of the two interpretations of history that the communities have been unable to reconcile. Unfortunately, this inability to reconcile the two ethnicities has spread effects far beyond the political sphere. The Tamil Tigers have been accused of ethnic cleansing and other abuses in their former de facto state to the north, and the Sri Lankan government has been accused of war crimes and inhumane treatment of Tamil civilian refugees. The Sri Lankan government took back much of the Tiger-controlled territory over the last decade, but the problem of reconciliation between the two communities continues to plague Sri Lanka.
Refugee camps like these are dotted all over southern India, and they hold up to 70,000 Tamils who fled the war in Sri Lanka. Now it's alleged the smugglers are using the old Tamil tiger networks to ply their trade.
Now these people are unemployed, and this is a good source of income for them.
It is almost unimaginable to think that there were 150 people crammed into this area.
I am also going to Australia and I get good education and good life.
Also tonight, the Sri Lankan government defends itself from claims that it's driving Tamils out of the country.
As I've told you, this is a country that was battered with terror.
Yes.
30 years of distrust cannot be erased off within 10% of the time. It's 3 years.
The civil war ended in 2009, and Sri Lanka is working towards reconciliation. But differences remain. This election's result is written in both Sinhalese and Tamil, but the report is spoken in the Sinhalese language only. And more importantly, the results come only from the Sinhalese-dominated southern and western regions of the country.